Hello everybody, it's good to have you here. I'm the Last Mikester and welcome back to another Primal Carnage Extinction video. This time around I'm going to be doing a series of videos going a little bit more in depth with all of the dinosaur classes available in the game, giving some tips and strategies on how to play them, starting with the pesky little bastards, otherwise known as Raptors. There are two classes to look at here, the Novaraptor and the Oviraptor. They originally started out more or less the same, with very minimal differences back when Primal Carnage Extinction first launched back in 2015, but have had several changes in recent years to differentiate them further from each other. So, without further ado, let's start with arguably the best dinosaur class in the game, the Novaraptor. The Nova has been my second favorite class behind only the Carnotaurus for quite some time now, and I think it's genuinely the best class in terms of viability. The Nova relies on speed and agility more than anyone else and has a really solid amount of health for the smaller classes at 360, tied only with the Pteranodon. It has solid stamina and stamina regen, which makes running and jumping around the map a fairly easy endeavor. The Raptor classes can be very difficult to hit even at close quarters, mostly because they'll be prancing and jumping around the map like a dangerously caffeinated kangaroo, which brings me to the biggest piece of advice I can offer, which is to always be sprinting and jumping, and I do mean always. If you run out of stamina, just hide and chill for a second to get it back. No Nova ever did well in a match by standing still or slowly walking menacingly towards their prey. Well, I mean, maybe that worked once or twice, but I can't recall it. Now, the Nova's main attack, performed by left-clicking, is a slash which deals about 45 damage. It looks super derpy from certain angles, but who cares, it's super effective. This is without a doubt the attack that you're going to be using as both the Nova and the Ovi, I would say about 95% of the time. Furthermore, using it is a piece of prehistoric cake, as you can hold down left click just like you would with something like a full auto assault rifle, and it will just keep attacking. So yes, this means you can spam the attack and there isn't much anyone can do about it. The humans throw their grenades and hatchets and whatever else so slowly that by the time the throwable is in the air, you'll be on freaking Jupiter. So that's all well and good, and you can use the combination of sprinting, jumping, and slashing to great effect and do pretty well in most matches, even if you are new to the game. However, the secondary ability that both Raptor classes share is Pounce. It may be effective in Jurassic Park, but I can assure you that is not the case here. Pounce has been broken since the game launched around 7 years ago, which I gotta say is a truly impressive amount of time for an ability to be busted and barely able to do what it's intended to do. The problem with Pounce isn't necessarily its overall idea, as it is the implementation of said idea. I guess they wanted the Raptor classes to be more of an ambush, pick your targets kind of playstyle, as opposed to the tank DPS, caffeine-infused jumping addict that they are now, especially in the Nova's case. I mean, you can still play them as an ambush predator if you want, especially with the recent change the Oviraptor got, which I'll get to shortly. However, Pounce just isn't a viable option for being sneaky. Biggest problem is that the hit detection, well, how do I put this? Can't detect shit. First off, sometimes you'll pounce your target and just zoom right past them, perfect for those times when you want to die horribly. Then half the time the hit detection will work, but not in the way you would think it would, because that would be just silly. In this case, you'll end up literally bouncing off of your target and kind of just shifting awkwardly to the side, which is perfect for getting an ass load of bullets, quite literally. When it does work how it's supposed to, well, it's still not a viable ability whatsoever. This is because when you pounce somebody, you pin them down and drain their health over the duration of the animation, but as soon as you take damage or run out of stamina, the ability ends. Kind of think of it like a charge attack in an MMO or RPG that can be interrupted. This is a huge problem since the humans always group up to survive. So, that leaves Pounce to be viable pretty much exclusively in 1v1 scenarios, provided that the hit detection is on duty in that fight. Now, I have heard some players make a case for Pounce being usable as a traversal tool to get across the map faster, which, yeah, I guess makes sense. However, I don't advise using it in this way, seeing as in the middle of combat, if you stop, you're pretty much screwed as the Raptors, and it just means death, so just use your regular jump instead. The last thing for the Nova is its roar ability, which is called Frenzy, and is kinda, sorta useful, sometimes maybe, Basically what happens is the Nova will do its little yell and enter a frenzy mode, kinda like my ex. When in this mode, the Nova will get an attack speed increase and nothing else. The rest of what happens during the ability is quite simply detrimental. The Nova can't jump as high, can't run as fast, and can't regain stamina. If it got a damage increase or defensive buff along with the attack speed buff, then it might be more useful, but at this point I'd pretty much never use it in any scenario really. Funnily enough, this ability used to be a hell of a lot worse, where all of your stamina would be instantly drained as soon as the ability was activated, and you couldn't run or jump at all. So I'm glad they buffed it, don't get me wrong, but it just wasn't enough unfortunately. So, that's the Novaraptor, a really fun class to play, perfect choice for new players, and even with a broken secondary and lackluster roar ability, it's still one of, if not the best dino classes, which is saying a lot. Assuming you are a sane person who uses the normal controls for movement, hold down shift, hit spacebar every now and then, and left click all over the damn place and you'll probably be fine. Okay, moving on to the Oviraptor, everyone's favorite murder turkey. The Ovi has a basic slash and pounce just like the Nova, with the differences being that the slash deals less damage than the Novas, but the pounce deals more. Since the pounce is just as broken as it is with the Nova, I don't really care about that. The Ovi does have a slightly smaller hitbox than the Nova, but also has less health at 280, a fairly noticeable difference when compared to the Nova's 360. The main difference is the Ovi's roar, which highlights humans, but these outline humans are only visible to the Oviraptor and no one else on your team, while the human throwables that the roar can also highlight are visible to both you and all of your dino comrades. In the most recent update to the game that dropped here about a week ago, the Ovi's roar was changed so that it now highlights full health humans with a gray outline and low health humans with a red outline, which is a pretty nice change I gotta say, allowing the Ovi to pick its targets more carefully and sniff out the humans who have already been mauled a little bit by your friends. I find the Ovi's roar to be especially helpful for highlighting the Trapper's landmines, as there is no other dinosaur capable of doing so. As with the Nova, you're going to want to run and jump around constantly and pretty much never use your pounce, slashing away like a killer in a horror flick. Other than that, the Ovi isn't too different than the Nova, and I must say I prefer the Nova because of the higher health and better slash damage, but both are solid classes who can work really well for flanking the enemy due to their speed and smaller size. Be aware that like the other smaller classes, both the Nova and the Ovi can be one-hit killed by direct hits from things like the Pyro's impact grenade and dynamite, the Commando's frag grenades, and they can really be screwed over by the Trapper's net gun and stun gun, bear traps, landmines, even the zap traps are pretty detrimental since it prevents them from slashing for a few seconds. For me, this generally means that I just avoid Trappers entirely in 1v1s when playing as the Raptors, and a full health Pyro can mess you up pretty bad as well. Also, the Scientist, being a sniper, can cause your little Raptors a serious case of head loss with just a single shot, so just dodge and weave and jump around, and at the very least you'll be annoying to anyone trying to shoot you, which is always a plus. I also figured it would be a good idea to mention in the first dino guide here the sensor mines that the Scientist can place down. These mines can't deal any damage to you, but if you get too close to them you'll be highlighted in red for the entire human team to see for a short duration. I don't know, I think it's about 10 seconds, 12 seconds, something like that, which as you can probably imagine is a huge problem for the smaller, sneakier classes like the Raptors. This little icon you see here in the bottom left will show up when you've been revealed to tell you to get out of dodge and freaking book it. All dinosaurs can be revealed in this way, but I have seen so many Raptor players that found a nifty little hiding spot but didn't realize that thanks to a sensor mine, everyone just around the corner can clearly see where they are, and then they get absolutely annihilated in seconds. So if you see a Scientist around, it can be worth it to glance at that bottom left corner every now and then. The game also gives you a little sound notification for it, but with Primal Carnage Extinction being louder than a jet engine, you'll probably miss it most of the time. Also, if you happen to be on fire, typical Sunday, am I right? And just stand in water for a couple seconds to cool things down. This isn't exclusive to the Raptors either, all dinosaurs can do this, but I'm mentioning it here since, again, this is the first of my dinosaur guides. Overall, I would say that the Raptors are the best choices if you are new to the game and work exceptionally well for getting the feel of playing as a dino. Plus, they are just so maneuverable and agile that you'll be able to get to places that other classes just can't. I will admit that once you get the hang of playing as the Raptors, they become quite a mindless class to play that doesn't require much thinking really at all, which, yeah, I know that could probably describe the whole point of Primal Carnage, you know, just it's supposed to be mindless fun, but some of the other classes have at least some challenge and strategy to them. Nowadays, this really just tends to mean that I don't play the Raptors as much as I used to, Anyway, that will do it for this one, folks. My next guide will be for the Flyers, which are a pretty sharp contrast to the Raptors in that they have a much steeper learning curve, so look out for that if you're struggling with them. Thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more Primal Carnage Extinction content, then consider giving this vid a like and subscribing. If you are subscribed, hit that bell so you don't miss any new videos. I always appreciate the support. Much love, take care, and until next time, bye-bye.